The Harris campaign launching a major ad blitz targeting Latino voters at boxing matches and ball games, presumably to win back those Hispanic men. Recent polling show Harris with a 13-point lead among Latino voters, but that's down 8 points from the 2020 election outcome. And that same poll finding Latino voters prefer Trump's immigration policy over Harris. So what message do Republicans need to stress to those Hispanic voters heading to November? Bienvenido USA founder Abraham Enriquez joins us now. Abraham, it's so great to have you on. So I have so many questions to ask you, but let's just start with the advantage that the Democrats do have in terms of organization and the ability to register and get people to vote because they have NGOs. Can you explain that to our viewers?
Absolutely. Well, good morning, Rachel. And as you mentioned, on the Republican side, traditionally every presidential election cycle, Republican outreach usually just typically tends to rely on super PACs and these financial committees to raise money and get the candidate across the finish line. Democrats have really cracked the code, and they use these 501c3s, 501c4s, NGOs in the name of civic engagement to really register voters and have this army of voters ready to go every single presidential election cycle. And we should look no further than the 100 plus Hispanic organizations that were pretty much sidelined the entire, Biden re-election campaign. And then all of a sudden from night to day came out and endorsed Kamala Harris. You have LULAC, the largest civil rights Latino organization in the country, breaking tradition and endorsing for the first time a Democrat candidate. Make no mistakes, these organizations have been in bed with the Democrat Party for decades, and they've been doing their work of mobilizing voters. And you can even see it in the minority church outreach. Democrats have had a chokehold on, that evangelical outreach. And so I think Republicans, it's time to wake up and see how you can start using those same organizations as well to activate voter registration and voter mobilization, just like the left has done for decades.
I have so much to cover. I just want to put one final point. How many NGOs do they have on the Democrat side versus the Republican side? Do you have any estimate on that?
Yeah, well, just on the Hispanic side, there are well over 100 national and local NGOs and organizations. And we should look also no further than South Texas, where there are. But
Abraham, how many on the Republican side? You say they have over 100. They have hundreds. How many on
the left has? Exactly. The left has over 100. On the Republican side with Latino outreach, guess how many there are, Rachel?
How many?
Doing the work for President Trump? One. Just one.
Hundreds versus one. And who's funding those? NGOs?
So you look at George Soros, you look at the left, you look at the Clinton administration, the Clinton Foundation has been embedded with, money transferring into these NGOs, as well as the Biden administration. Go to South Texas, Rachel. You and I both have been down there. And you look at these local charities that are doing the work of busing asylums over the border. And you look at where their financials come from, and they're directly tied to government contracts from the Biden administration.
Yeah, it's not good. Now, we had a number earlier about immigration, and Donald Trump is winning Hispanics on the issue of immigration, which is blowing minds on the Democrat side. He's running on mass deportations, if he's elected. Can you explain why that's the case?
Yeah, well, let's look at the numbers for a bit, Rachel. I think it's pretty mind-blowing that if President Trump, who is polling right now about 45% with the Hispanic vote, if that stays true to Election Day, he had won more Hispanic support than any Republican presidential candidate since the 1970s. And the reason why you're seeing Hispanics attracted to the America First policies that President Trump is putting forth is that you have to understand the demographic of the Hispanic vote. Traditionally, Rachel, back in the day, to win the Hispanic vote, you had to talk about being pro-amnesty and maybe weak borders to, quote unquote, win the Hispanic vote. And yet President Trump is doing the exact opposite and winning with Hispanic voters. And that's for two reasons. One, the average age of Hispanic voters in America, Rachel, are 29 years old, meaning we're the youngest racial demographic in the country. And that means that we're worried more about, starting a home, getting married, starting a family. We can't do that under these policies that the Democrats have. as well as 2/3 of Hispanics on the voter roll, Rachel, are second and third generation Americans. What does that mean? We're assimilating to American culture better. Where English is predominantly our first language. We have college degrees. So we're getting more sophisticated in what the policies that we're looking for at the ballot box. And it shows that President Trump is winning with those voters.
Oh, what a great breakdown. By the way, Donald Trump endorsed by Nikki Jam and Anual. That should help with young Latino voters as well. Much better than Tim Walz. All right. Thanks so much for joining me, Abraham. Great breakdown. We'll have to have you back. Thanks.